Mariana, Tim, Alexi, Cole, and I. We're going to present 3PH. Let me introduce 3PH first. 3PH is produces environmental friendly products, which are packaging products or printing products, and it helps production companies to be more environmental friendly. Their core competence is mostly environment, so they really focus on that. That's also one of their competitive advantages. In our previous report, we had to do a country selection model, so we had to decide which country we wanted to enter as a new export partner. We came to a conclusion to focus on the Scandinavian market, because the Scandinavian market is very environmental friendly. That's very good. Then we decided we wanted a fishing company because we wanted to export the fishing box, the environmental fishing box, to the Scandinavian market. Out of all the research we did, Norway was the best compatible country to do so. Biggest fishing country, and very sustainable aware. Also, the government provides a lot of support on that. Furthermore, we're going to explain the theory, methodology, internal, external analysis, SWOT analysis, conclusions and recommendations, and in the end, the cost-benefit analysis.
First of all, we'll explain the theory that will be addressed during this presentation. The export management strategy, it's a theory that aligns the market objectives to the company's objectives, and you have to address the target group, the objectives, the competitive strategy, and the market needs. Then we have the internal analysis, which it gains insight of the internal aspects of the company. You address the port value chain, which addresses the primary and secondary activities that the company performs, and the financial ratio analysis to see how healthy is the company, and the external analysis, which performs the analysis of the customers, competitors, and the distribution channels that can be used, and the country selection model, which applies the pre-filters, where we had 7 countries at the beginning, but then we reduced them to 4 alternatives. And after applying filters 1 and 2, which are a more detailed examination of the aspects of the country, we arrived to Norway. In filter 1, we addressed the GDP, the political environment, the distance, and the exchange rate. And in filter 2, we addressed the import restrictions, the market size, competitors, and sustainability awareness. And after all, we, using the factor score method, we weighted these filters according to their importance to our marketing expertise.
Alright, the methodology. We did an explorative qualitative study because not much was known about the subject. We collected the data through primary and secondary research. The primary research being the internal analysis, because we did an interview with Mr. Skane, and so that was like the the primary data. And the secondary research was used in the internal analysis and in the external analysis. We found some limitations for this study because a lot of information was really hard to find due to the language barrier. So for example, in the export pricing, it was really hard to find the competitive boxes, so because we had to access a lot of companies and websites that were in Norwegian, so therefore we had to spend a lot of time on Google Translator trying to figure things out. So that was like one of the biggest limitations for this study. And also the website of 3PH didn't inform us with a lot of information, so that was also something that we had to face, problem that we had to face.
So the internal analysis was based on value chain analysis and of course financial ratio analysis, and that's defined in primary and secondary activities, the value chain. So I'm going to quickly run this by and tell you about strengths and weaknesses that we encountered in the primary and secondary activities. To start with incoming activities, incoming logistics. What he found here as a strength for 3PAs is that they own their own truck fleet. This means that they are relatively flexible in supplying their customers. Also, when addressing new customers, this can help to quickly decide on a new route. And very important, when a customer will relocate, 3PA can easily say, okay, we have the means, our own truck fleet, to divert to this new location. However, incoming logistics, we also found a small weakness. 3PS currently does not have a track and trace system. They know when it arrives and when it leaves. However, neither the customer nor 3PH has a good idea of how the progress during the traveling of the truck is going. And this, of course, could be turned into a great strength, a great service towards the customer. It's a good idea of when their truck is, if they encountered any delays in that sense. That could give more insight. Another one that I wanted to address, very strong strength, is the marketing and sales. 3PS is, of course, currently already sending fishing boxes. It's quite a excluded market. This means they have already obtained quite a bit of market insights. They know about the needs and wants of their customers within the fishing industry. Even though this is not Norway, the needs and wants can be expected to be relatively the same. Now, of course, you might think of the cultural barrier language-wise that we did encounter in our research. However, when doing business, the great thing about Norway is that they're fairly highly ranked in English speaking. So this cultural difference can quite well be expected that there will be a very small weakness there. And of course, another very big marketing and sales strength for this company is the fact that the fishing box, the biodegradable fishing box, is a very sustainable product. And Norway is ranked 5th in sustainability awareness worldwide. This means that that's very good strength, especially marketing-wise, to apply this. So one primary activities, one outbound logistics, one small weakness is that they currently have only one supplier for the raw material for the biodegradable fishing box. However, they do have a purchasing department. This kind of outweighs each other, since the purchasing department probably keeps a very good relationship with the vendor and keeps monitoring whether or not the vendor is effective and evaluate this vendor. That brings us to secondary activities and acquisition. That's actually immediately a strength is the purchasing department that is in place. It is expected to look at new vendors to see if the price can go down and the quality of the raw material can go up. Furthermore, the last one to address is technological development in the secondary activities. This is a very big strength of 3PH. They're consistently innovating their current product lines and the new product lines. They have a special department for this as well, design department, which focuses on increasing, of course, the quality of the product, and over time might be able to reduce the cost of production. So that's what I want to tell on the value chain. Of course, in the report it is more detailed given. So the internal analysis of the financial ratios. Now here we encountered some strengths and one weakness. First of all, the quick ratio to start with is 2.24. So due to quick ratio instead of the current ratio, because of the quick ratio you deduct inventory. 3PS has quite a high inventory, so we found this more relevant. 2.24, however, is a very good quick ratio and is an indication that the company is rather healthy. Also the debt ratio, that's all acceptable. Return on total assets and net profit margin, very high. This indicates that the company is healthy and managed to use its assets in an effective and efficient way. However, something we did encounter, and was encountered we heard before today, is, for example, this ratio. It's the turnover rate of creditors, where we encountered some strange documentation. This is the best number we got out of the system. It's 560 days, which I hope is wrong, because that's very, very large. However, what we took a look at is in 2016 and 2018, we decided to compare why in 2017, for reasons that I did not understand and could not find out, is that the entire accounts receivable and the accounts payables was deducted to 0. And this is of course very strange, and this documentation should be addressed. Also, have been talking to fellow students doing research on a different SAP company called Shane. And what I can encounter there, since I did the internal analysis, is that 3PH has rather badly oversight in their SAP system. So this could be improved to get a better insight of what's happening in the country, in the company, and with, for example, non-creditors. Thank you.
Alright, moving on to the external analysis. Two crucial parts, the customers and the competitors. These are very important, especially in your export plan, because that's who you're going to sell to and who you are competing with, so you can get the best competitive advantage out of it. First of all, with competitors, we have researched, we took the top 5 countries in the entire Norwegian market. We picked the 3 biggest ones. These are actually really huge. They're almost market leaders in the entire world. Oosterwolde Seafood, it operates internationally. It fishes in the UK, it fishes in Peru, in Chile, so all around the world. Also Alaska, like USA. This is a very big one. It mainly fishes salmon and pelagic fish. Very hard to pronounce. It's actually the mother company of the Leroy Seafood Group. It serves around 1.75 million meals per year. It offers to canteens, to hotels, to restaurants. Those are their customers. Really huge one, very big turnover in billions of euros. Marine Harvest Norway. This one operates in approximately 30 countries. It has been bought by the USA, so it's more of an international company, but it's mainly farming and harvesting in Norway. So these are very important and great potential. It's also one of the reasons why we directly approach them, because they're so big. It doesn't really make sense to have an indirect approach, because these are already very huge customers. You don't really, the volume is already there. If you have them as customers, you can directly sell so many fishing boxes. Of course, you have to be customers first. Competitors, Smurfit. This is actually one of the threats, a very big threat actually, because Smurfit and Ranheim, they're both competitors. Smurfit is the Irish company. It produces recyclable fishing boxes with paper. Paper is thinner, it's lighter, and it's quite easy to move, to transport as well. This is a big threat for 3PH. However, since it's paper is paper. You have to cut trees to get paper, basically. So is it that environmental friendly? That's one approach for 3PH to encounter them. We offer biodegradable foam. This is derived from plastic. So this is it's already plastic being made, so you don't really need a chemical reaction to do it again. So it's better for the environment. That's where we can play on, competitive-wise. Ranheim is a Norwegian company, a bit smaller though, and we have Inventas, which designs boxes. It tries to improve by environmentally wise. It's in Bergen, it's in Norway as well, and it sells its boxes as well.
So then is the distribution analysis. So for the distribution analysis, we assess how physical distribution is done in competitors and customers, and overall environment for the logistics. And the important things to highlight that Norway is really concerned about its logistics and all the distribution environment because of its export activities. And they have this national transport plan, which consider different means of distribution. But what they highlight is they would like to see multimodal approach. So using different means of transportation, like sea and road, for example, in order to decrease only usage of road. Because as you see, this is the logistics distribution of Ranheim, our competitor, and within Norway they mainly using a road, and for the international orders they using like multimodal approach. Same goes for the other competitors, and for the customers mainly, as was mentioned before, they're located in the Bergen. That's like also like South Norway, and it's a big transportation hub, as well as the Trondheim. So it's there is a possibility to use different means of transportation. And then the risks. So in risk we have the delivery risk, which just encounter the logistics risk that can be. And because Norway is quite concerned about its transportation network, so the one requirement during winter is that logistics trucks and lorries should have special snow equipment. That's one concern for the 3PH. And in terms of trade, so this currency and political risks. So the currency, there is a Norwegian krona that is stable and currently is appreciating for the euro, but still their relation is really strong. And the political risk, so Norway is not in the European Union, but however it's in the European Economic Area, which gives them the rights to do the free trade, free movement of goods. But there are some limitations for in the custom wise, so it's important to check all this encounters. And the cultural is the Norwegian and the Dutch culture are quite similar in terms of like the hardware cultural means in Hofstede, for example. So the one difference is how the Norway culture is more traditional, while Dutch culture is more open to innovations. And also the language barrier is quite low because as you can see there, according to EPEF company, which provides the English courses and the Discover level of English proficiency, Netherlands are ranked number 2 and Norway is ranked number 4, so it's quite okay.
To summary of the internal and external analysis, we found that the main strengths are that 3PH has its own fleet, and that they are able to provide like exact location of their trucks. They have a service flexibility since they own them, so they are able to change the routes if necessary or the timing. As of the financials, they have a high quick ratio. This means that they have a really good opportunity to invest, and they are a financially healthy company overall. As for the weaknesses, they have no proper documentation recording. As Tim mentioned, he had some troubles when calculating the ratios because of these irregular payment of payables they're fully dependent on one supplier. This means that if that supplier just disappears, then they will not have any alternatives. And it is a relatively unknown market, but after making all this marketing research, they will be fine. As of the opportunities, they have a cost-efficient strategy. They have a really good sustainable reputation. They have international treaties that facilitate the transporting of the products. They have a product development strategy. This means they keep innovating. They have the logistics and transportation means, which makes it easier to get there. And Norway is a fair and transparent market, which is a good thing as well. And the threats are that there is a lot of competition, as Jen mentioned. They may be seasonal natural risks, which are controlled, as Alexis said, that there were some requirements, especially in winter. And where there are some demand fluctuations, this means that fish is more demanded in some seasons than in others. And the payment risk, which could be fine using the payment terms that we will propose.
So quickly, how we can exploit advantages and diminish disadvantages. So the solution to exploit the trends and opportunities, so we can use the physical, the logistics means together with Norway infrastructure and really exploit it, but also use the multimodal approach and start to use new means of transportation. So weakness, what was mentioned before, the reliability on one supplier. So this is the opportunity because the Norway market is quite sustainable, so there is a possibilities to find a new supplier for the packaging fishing boxes, paper or plastic wise. And then the strengths and threats. So because there are competitors which produce and also design, we can collaborate with them in order to create it. And also incorporation of technologies, but it's already incorporated in SAP. However, there's possibility to use Internet of Things in terms of weather mitigation or related to the fish. So now you know how much they catch and then you know how much to produce. And the weaknesses and threats. So in order to mitigate all threats and be aware about weaknesses, we produce the export plan. Yeah, and the new market, this has like some unknown things because it's a new market. So for this market entry strategy, we're going to use direct export because using direct export, we're going to eliminate some risks such as currency risks and political risks. Currency risk we're going to eliminate by using euro as the main contract currency, and political risk we will eliminate in more concrete legal risk we will eliminate by having all documentation here in Netherlands. So there's not going to be a Norway trace.
The export privacy. Here, I'm gonna go quick over them because we don't have much time. But this is the forward price. This is the backward pricing. Here you can see that the difference between both of them is very high, but this is due, the backward pricing is that high because of the competitive products. We couldn't really find something that was made from the same material or like the same measurements or anything, so it was really hard for us to compare something. So we found 3 products. 2 of them were made of plastic and 1 of them was made of aluminum, and they were also fishing boxes. However, they were really big, and that's why the price is really high. So we're going to do DDP, so this will be around that 153 euros. So we did not think that this would be a competitive price because it's way too high, and like this would not be like no one would buy our product for that price. So therefore, our box, the fishing box, fits 38 liters, and the ones that we found, the average was around 70 liters. So that's why we made an average, and the price would be of around 83 euros. But that would still be too high, and that's why we did an average between the 83 euros and the 29, which would be the consumer price from the forward pricing, and that would be around 56 euros. And we thought that this price would be more competitive than the 83 euros.
So on what basis did you choose the range that you chose? On what basis did you choose the range that you chose for?
Yeah, because of how big the boxes were. So the 3 competitive ones, they were around 70 to 80 liters. So I took an average of that. So yeah, and the thing.
In payment terms, there's going to be open account as an advantage for the clients because they pay in euro. So they going to have a credit term from 30 to 90 days. This is safe because Shame is supplier of TBH, and they also work in open account that's provide like some margin, and also there's the Dutch government provide like the possibilities to have export insurance, for example the Astarta company. So this open account will be covered by the export insurance.
And last, the cost benefit. 3PH, they have a capacity of producing around 5 containers. Each container fits around 1,092 fishing boxes. So it would be 40 feet containers, sorry. That would be around 5,460 units. By selling them with the 56.28 cents, we would have the revenue of 307,000 around that. And taking the cost into consideration, which would be the transportation costs, handling costs, outbound, inbound costs, this would be around 81,000. So the net benefit would be 225,000 the first year. For the SAP ERP implementation, the company already uses SAP ERP, so we did not think that we should recommend anything in relation to that. Maybe also just like taking more care of the financials because we did find that was a problem. But we do recommend that they make an export department, that they implement an export department, because they already export to Germany as well. So then since we are now exporting also to Norway, that would be like 2 countries already. So we think that it will be a lot of extra work. So therefore we recommend to make an export department.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Again, it's a good presentation and you have taken care of most of the information that we require to take decisions.
The next step is to sign the contract.
I suppose.
Predictive analysis. So
You have a question?
yeah, well, about when you see the cost approach,